So this week we're talking about welcome. And that doesn't necessarily mean we have to be happy immediately about everything that comes in. Because as we all know, this is a tough world. There are challenges that face us every day. Challenges in situations, challenges in people, challenges in even the people that we love, and definitely challenges in the loss of those that we love. And so this welcome prayer is not saying, hey, everything's great. What it's saying is the world does what the world does. And I can either build up a wall and defend against it completely, in which case I block out as much joy as I block out pain. I can be in denial, so I block out even knowing the truth of who I am or how it feels because I'm so afraid it's going to feel bad. Right? So welcome simply means acceptance. This is the way it is today. This is how it is. So then I get to, from the center of me, make a decision about how I want to be in the situation of how it is, rather than marching out with my defenses in place and my offenses at the ready. I get a moment. I get a moment to choose to decide. It doesn't mean I condone what's going on. It doesn't mean I approve of what's going on. It means I acknowledge it fully. Yes. And I'm going to use me as an example again, because all October, almost my first thought upon waking was, it's still hot. And I have a lot of thoughts about that. I live in Texas, y'all. I made this decision. I'm here. But then start defending myself rather than, and what I've been practicing doing as I've gone out for my walks every day during the month of October, 7 days a week, was out walking and sweating. And it didn't really matter how early in the morning I went. I was going to sweat anyway. And I was just like, it's hot and I'm sweating. It's hot and I'm sweating. It's hot and I'm sweating. And it didn't mean that I liked it. I don't like to sweat. I would like to exercise really hard and never sweat. Don't like it. Didn't mean that I liked it, but it meant that I didn't go out mad. I'm mad that I'm sweating. I'm mad. Why does it have to be this way? It's October, for heaven's sake. Why is this still happening to me? I mean, I could easily do that. I have done that. So I was practicing trying to do something different. And it's amazing how much calmer I was able to be. And how much more willing I was to walk a long distance instead of like halfway through stopping and going, that's enough, I'm too sweaty, I'm going home. So welcome is an invitation not to judge, to acknowledge what's happening, but you're invited not to have to put a judgment on it, just to go, oh, this is what's happening. It's October, it's still very hot, so when I walk, I will sweat. Not such a big deal as when I fortify myself with anger about something that I have absolutely no control over. None whatsoever. None. So welcome is an invitation not to judge, but to let God do God's work. It's also this idea that if I trust that there is something higher, and whether that be the universe, as the Buddhists would put it, the way things are. They are as they are, so I can fight that, or I can go, they are as they are. What do I need to do so that I can live with how they are in a peaceful manner that doesn't harm me or others? Or whether you believe in a personal God that's taken care of you. I believe in the power of love. That is my strongest belief. And I use the word God and love interchangeably. I believe that love is the strongest power in the world. I believe that love is the only power that heals. I believe that love is the only power that overcomes hate. And I believe that love can overcome anything unlike itself. And so when I hold that as my truth, then I get to begin to see the world through the eyes of love. Okay, what's love going to do with this mess? Because I know love can do something with this mess. I can't. My anger can't. My walls that I build up can't. The tools, the weapons that I start to amass, whether they be mental ones or physical ones, can't. But love can. Love in me can. So if I let that love in me, then I am on the road to healing. I'm on the road to healing, as Thomas Keating said. Everything comes to me today is for my healing. But it's not just for my healing. When I am engaged truly in my healing, when I am holding the truth of love, then I am engaging in your healing too, because we are one. Amen. What I do to you, I do to myself. What I do for you, I do for myself. You know, Jesus didn't say, love your neighbor as much as yourself. He said, love your neighbor as yourself. As. The same as. Equal. Right? Not different. And so this invitation not to judge, I can welcome everything that comes today because I know it's for my healing. So perhaps if an election result happens that I'm not happy with, what I can use for my healing is to look at that and go, what is mine to do here? If I don't like what's going on, what have I done to change that? Because if I'm adding anger and hate to what I perceive as anger and hate, then there's more anger and hate in the world. But if I say, this feels angry to me and it doesn't feel good, then I go, how can I bring my love to this? How can I show up as healing in the situation? If I'm being challenged, someone's telling me, you might not be right. I hope that never happens to you. But if I'm being challenged, I have the opportunity to look at my arrogance and to ask myself, does arrogance serve me or the world, or does my humility serve me or the world? And is it possible that I am wrong? Very important. I might not be right about this. And as long as I am sure I am right, I am unopen to any other information. Maybe I am right. I have been. Maybe I am right, but by saying maybe I'm not, I listen. I listen to what's going on around me. I pay attention. I don't build my wall and say, nope, I'm right, and don't you dare come and break a brick out of this wall. Because then I'm alone. Again, I'm cutting off joy. I'm cutting off connection. I'm cutting off friendship. I'm cutting off personal growth. I'm cutting off the ability to be more than I am today when I wall myself up. So I welcome a challenge. Maybe even I welcome a diagnosis. There are certain diagnoses that we really don't want to welcome. But I do know that I have walked with several friends through cancer. And the ones who decided to love themselves to the nth degree during their time of going through treatment had better outcomes than those who went, this is a battle, and I'm going to destroy it. It's a different way of looking at things, and I'm not blaming the victim here. However, when you have a diagnosis like that, however you deal with it, God bless you, and I will pray with and for you. But it doesn't have to be a battle. There is another way to look at it. I'm going to love myself better than I ever have before because my body is going through a challenge. And so I'm going to fortify it with all the love that I have. And I'm going to let everybody else's love in too. I'm not going to go behind a wall and do this by myself. I've talked to you all about my recent diagnosis as pre-diabetic, which I know is not the end of the world, but cookies. I'm facing my first holiday cookie. My first holiday season where I don't bake 5 kinds of cookies and fudge and 13 pies. That's my tradition. 13 pies the day before Thanksgiving and share them with neighbors. And I'm like, am I still going to bake all that stuff that I can't have and share it with my neighbors? I don't think I am. I don't think I am. It's like, yes, it might be nice for my neighbors, but would it be cruel to me? It might be a little bit. So I'm still figuring that out. But the deal is, it allows me, when I don't just reject it, get in denial, pretend it's not there, eat the cookies anyway, reject it and get mad, but then to look beyond the physical and go, is it true? Is it possible, Melinda, that you haven't been taking the best care of yourself? Is it possible that you've been doing things that harm your body? And are you a grown-up, and is it maybe time to stop? I'm not saying I like it, but I'm saying that's been my attitude going into it, and it's working for me. It's working for me. So, when we welcome these things, what we are actually welcoming is awareness. We're welcoming the awareness around what happens. Yes, what happens, happens. We can welcome it or not, but it's still happening. But what is my awareness around it? When I welcome it, I get to go, what is my thought? What is the feeling? What is the emotion? And what concept am I building up and believing about this awareness? Because here's the deal, the world just is. It's not personal, it just is. And the world is not wrong. I know, that's a weird thing to say, isn't it? Obviously the world is wrong. Well, for 4 billion years, this world has been evolving into what it is today. And when it doesn't fit your personal agenda, can you think for a minute about how ridiculous that might feel to take that personally? The world is what it is. I read this quote not too long ago, and it was credited to unknown, but you are the result of 4 billion years of evolution. Act like it. Because the world happens, it's just happening anyway, and then our brains perceive it. Our brains take in this data from the world, and then we get to do all sorts of things with it, right? We perceive it, and then we make up stories about it, and then we have feelings about the stories we make up about it, and then we have thoughts about those feelings, about the stories and then we share the stories, and then we get you in on our story, and then you build your own story, and then, whoa, we can go to town with our stories. When really the truth is, what's happening is happening. I can ask this question: what does this have to teach me? What can I learn? Not 4 billion years conspired to bring me this thing so that I can learn. That's not it. But 4 billion things conspired to make this moment happen. I can be mad about it, I can cut it off, or I can say, there is something here for my good. What is it? Help me to know it. What could it possibly have to teach me? Make me teachable. It allows me to look at my emotions and what they're telling me. You know, I hear all the time in psychology, feelings aren't facts. You know, you have a feeling, it's not going to kill you. A feeling is not a fact, but a feeling always points to a fact. So if you're having a feeling and you shove that feeling away before you fully feel it, you're not going to know what fact it's pointing to. If you have a feeling and you say, whoa, what is this? I do not like this. What is this? And you spend a little time feeling it. It's amazing how feelings come to pass. They come in, they pass through, unless you lock them up with you in your wall. And so it gives us an opportunity to see, what is this feeling pointing to? And what is this affecting? Is it scaring me? Am I scared? Is it because I feel my security is threatened? Is it because I'm afraid I'm not going to get what I'm going to get? You know, in 12-step, that's basically what they say. All resentments are about either you're going to take away something I have, or you're going to prevent me from getting what I want. Those are the two things that we're most worried about. So when we take that from out there, you're going to do this to me, and bring it in here, what is it that I truly want? And what is it that I truly need? And how can I rely on the God of my understanding, the love of my understanding, my awareness and ability to adapt to this universe? How can I rely on those things to teach me something so that I can come through this stronger than I was before? Raise your hand if you have never had a challenge that strengthened you in the end. Now, did you go, I'm so glad I had that challenge? No, probably not. And yet there is a gift. So this is not about, yay, I'm so glad this is happening. It's about, okay, this is happening. How can I allow myself to grow from it rather than shrink from it? Do I want to emerge a smaller, scareder, more closed-off person? Or do I want to emerge a stronger, braver, more open person? Because that is the question every time with every feeling. It's said to open to all persons. Persons are for my good? Well, I tell you what, the person that you don't like has lots of information for you about what it is in yourself that you don't like. Byron Katie says, if you just put this little phrase on the end of every sentence, I hate him because blah, 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 just like me. Because, what we tend to do is, I don't do it to that degree. I don't do it there. I don't do it in public. Those are excuses. What in me is angry? What in me is not completely truthful? What in me wants to spin it so that I come out sounding a little better? Right? What in me is doing that? Because guess what? The only one you can do anything about is you. And so if you focus all your attention on what they're doing, you're going to make yourself very angry and have no positive effect on the world. Whereas if you go, wait, how am I warlike? Right? We need to stop this war. Let's blow them all to hell so we can stop this war. It's not how war stops. War stops when people get peaceful. So how about I stop the war inside myself? And I begin to go, how do I find my peace? And how then can I share that peace with others who might need a little peace in their lives? And when enough of us do that, we reach a tipping point, and that's how peace on earth happens. Peace on earth will never happen because somebody forced somebody else to get peaceful. That's the opposite of peace. Forcing someone else even to get peaceful or to be nice is a violence. Whereas becoming peaceful and inviting people into the peace is the opposite of war. Persons allow me, if I can tolerate what's going on in them, they help me to tolerate what goes on in me that I don't like. And then I reject myself less and I love myself more. And when I love myself more, I'm more peaceful and I'm more kind. And when I'm more kind, the world is more kind. That's how it works. And not welcoming your human experiences is denying spirit the opportunity to experience what it means to be human. Because guess what? You're not just a human being. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. So why come down here and have a human experience if you are going to try to avoid all human experiences? Right? I don't like this one, but this is the one that's here for me now or I wouldn't be here. So what has it got for me? What has it got for me? Because what we resist persists. What we resist, every time you push on something, it's going to push back at you. Somebody throws a rope to you, and you don't pick it up and tug, there's no tug of war. You just look at that rope and go, next. I don't have to be triggered by what you just did. I have a choice. I don't have to use my anger or build my wall or arm my weapons. I don't have to do that. I get a choice. So why do we resist? Why don't we welcome? It's about power and control. We want to feel like we have control over our world. Well, maybe this will help you. You don't. I don't. We have control over what's inside this little hula hoop, and I barely have control over that, y'all. But it's the only thing I can control is what's right in here. My actions, my thoughts, my behaviors, my words, my ability to either say yes or to say no, and to do my best to say no to what doesn't serve me in the world and to say yes to what does, but not to prejudge any of it. That's what the welcome is. Come on in. I'm not prejudging. I'm going to see. Could be wrong about this. After some time spent with my feelings, spent with my gut, spent in prayer, it'll be a lot easier for me to sort out, okay, no, this is not the thing. This is the thing I need to say no to in order to say yes to this. If you ever have a no that doesn't have a yes, take a look at that. Because every no that's for your good has a yes on the other end of it. I love that line in the song, I had to learn to say no so I could say yes. We have to say no to certain things so we can say yes to other things. So to release, it says, the prayer says, to release our desire for affection, esteem, approval, pleasure, survival, security. We're going to release our desire for that stuff? That's hard. Here's the deal. We don't have to release those things. We can have pleasure, we can have joy, we can have security, we can have esteem, we can have all of those things. But we can have them when they're real and there for us. Anything else is us coaxing and manipulating, and then when we get it, we don't believe it's real anyway. Because we know we coaxed and manipulated it. Any of you ever try to make your boyfriend or girlfriend, make them say, I love you? Early on in the process, perhaps? Figuring out ways to get them to respond, maybe withholding yours until they do, or telling them so often that they might feel guilty if they don't say it back, or I'm not going to reveal to you all of my secrets, but those are a couple. Those are a couple. And you know what? People will love you when they love you, not when you want them to. And so you get to have love, but you don't get to twist yourself inside out in order to get it. Here is a quote. I just was reading my journal and I wrote it, and I was very impressed by it. So I'm going to tell you. No's tell us where our yes is. When we bend over backward, trying to control and manipulate, we can no longer see the way forward. Because our eyes are in the past and not in the present. Have you ever felt like you bent over backward for someone and they just did you wrong? Why did you bend over backwards? Right? You were trying to get something from them that they weren't willing to give. We got to take what people are willing to give and let go of the rest and show up for ourselves to give ourselves what we need. If I need security, I can provide security. It doesn't mean that I can't feel secure in my relationships too, but I can't force them to be that way. So the benefits of saying welcome. Now, once again, this is not about passively accepting negative situations without taking action to address them. As a matter of fact, by welcoming in and not judging it, it is easier for us to make a clear decision about what is mine to do in this moment. What's really mine to do? Besides build a wall, what can I do that would perhaps be helpful to me or another? It is acknowledging reality, allowing, accepting it, and then deciding. If you don't first welcome, then you don't have the choice. And the benefits are increased self-awareness of your underlying patterns, increased emotional healing that allows you to process and release rather than holding on to something painful for years and years and years while you try to pretend it's not there. Spiritual growth. It requires practice. It requires practice. We have to, when we welcome what is in our life, it doesn't mean that we don't want or need change or growth or that we can't have it. It means we see, oh, take a look at this. What is mine to do with this? Can I invite God into this? I open to the love and presence of God and God's action within. That's the last line of that prayer. I open to the presence of love and love's action within me. If the word God bothers you. I open to the presence of love, and I open to love's action in me so that I can be more loving and less harmful in the world. And that's how we create a more loving world. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here today. Going to take just a moment to take some of that into meditation. So if you'll just breathe wherever you are, nothing special. You don't have to get into a lotus position or breathe deeply. Just become aware that you are breathing. And there is proof that your life is being sustained without your effort. Yea, breath. Yea, God. Yea, love. And thank you. And in this space of just breathing, of just being, perhaps introduce this word, welcome. Welcome this breath that just continually comes in without my having to ask for it or remember to do it or say thank you for it. I don't have to pay for it. I'm just breathing and I don't even know it. But in this moment I know it and I say welcome and thank you. And you might ask yourself, what else is here? As I sit and breathe, what else is here? I know that there is fear in this room. I know that there is loss in this room. Welcome it in. And ask, what gifts do you have for me today? Or tell it, whoa, this is too much. I need God's help. I need love's help to handle this. And allow that and see what happens. Because I also know that there is joy in this room. There is celebration in this room. There is love in this room. And as a matter of fact, the pain of loss is directly proportional to the joy of loving. If we never loved it, it wouldn't hurt to lose it. And so when we welcome in that loss, we can also welcome in the joy of having loved. And if we allow that love in, we can see that that love is still here. It's not gone. Perhaps the person is gone, but the love is not. Love doesn't disappear. Bodies disappear, but love does not. And so maybe I can just ask, what does this love, this loss, this joy, this grief, what does this information have to teach me about being a loving person in this world? Loving and caring for myself so that I can be strong enough to love and care for others. we go through that process, perhaps we're a little more open to saying, welcome. Welcome. There is something good here for me. And I refuse to shut the door until I can find it. And perhaps we'll even get to a place where we realize that in some way it's all either love or it's leading us to love. It's all either already good or in some way will be for our good. And we can breathe into that possibility. Even just that possibility. This could be for my good. This is leading me to love. Then we become less afraid to say welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome in because I know that you are for my healing. And so it is. Amen.